Alrighty boys, welcome back once again to another video. How you guys doing? Guys, today we're going to be going over the new season for Fortnite Save the World, which is either Chapter 2, Season 2, or Season 12, depending on what camp you were in. The majority of today's information is going to be coming from the Save the World home base status report. Now, before you do sigh and, disappointment and whatever, the home base status report this time around actually isn't worthless. They kind of styled it around the same way that patch notes used to be. Like, the status report that they did is actually getting a little bit nitty-gritty in a lot of the information, which is pretty good, seeing as how in the past they only highlighted like a new weapon or a new hero, and that was pretty much it. This home base status report is actually pretty extensive, and it's going to take me a while to get through all of it, so I'm actually pretty happy, and I really do hope that they keep with the same kind of trend that they are right here, and make sure that they kind of release it very similarly, because not having patch notes is really frustrating. As well as, at the time of recording this video, we do not have a roadmap yet. Normally, Save the World does get a roadmap at the start of a new season. We don't have one yet. I'm not exactly sure why or if we will be getting one. What I do know, however, is that this update actually has a lot more in it than what Save the World normally gets. As you guys know, the big updates for Save the World normally happen around the 0.20 update and never around the 0.00 update. Last season we only got one hero and one AFK improvement. This time around, we got a lot more to talk about, which is actually really cool. So we're starting the season off strong. Obviously, the locker happens in 0.10, and if we get a big content drop at 0.20, I think a lot of people in the Save the World camp will be happy this season. Now, aside from that, before we jump into it, quick shout out to I'm the Dragon over on Twitter for using my code at gfuel.com and supporting the channel. I appreciate your face, man. Thank you so much, and let's jump into the video. So, of course, this information does come from the home base status report, and it starts off like this. What's up, commanders? Recruits, we have a love storm incoming. Major Oswald. The no dancing questline. Major Oswald will not allow home base to suffer at the hands of the enemy, the dreaded love storm. Operation Broken Hearts begins at 08 right now. Defeat home base's most prominent enemy to unlock the STONEHEART FARRAH hero. Now, I will go ahead and mention the fact that we're getting a Valentine's questline after Valentine's has already passed is a little weird. Not really going to judge it too much. I'm just saying, if you were going to do it, you should have done it in 11.50. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky. Let's go ahead and move on. We're actually getting our first ever Save the World bow hero in the form of STONEHEART FARRAH, which is interesting, and she actually sounds really good. It says the standard perk, which is Cupid's arrow. On a bow hit, the arrow will splinter and deal 20% damage to 3 nearby enemies, and the commander perk will be that the arrow will splinter and deal 60% damage to 5 nearby enemies. This character sounds really good. She's a ninja, and you can get her via the new questline. Moving on from that, we actually have Wargames being mentioned. It said Major Oswald's Wargames Drills are now back in full effect, so it seems that Epic Games is reviving Wargames, seeing as it's been dead for so long. Revisit your Storm Shield bases, test your defenses against some destructive and challenging simulations, complete both daily and weekly quests to earn your haul of event tickets, gold, banner, evolution materials, and perk rewards. I imagine that this is just filler content. I wouldn't be, too up in arms about this. I imagine that this is just Epic Games giving us filler content until version, 12.20, until we actually get some real stuff. I just feel like this was like a last minute addition to kind of give us some stuff to do. So we have some new quests to be able to kind of stock up on tickets and whatnot. Aside from that, we have Dashing Hawk, which is the new questline hero. Guy looks amazing. Follow your heart to Hawk. It says the damage or the standard perk is absolutely stunning. Lefty and righty shots have a 37.5% chance to stun the target for 2 seconds, and the commander perk additionally will allow lefty and righty damage to increase by 100% against stun targets. This will be out tomorrow in the event store at February the 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be doing a live stream over on twitch.tv to check him out as soon as he drops if you're interested in that. Link in the description. Aside from that, we also have the Love Song Bow, which says make the husk love struck with this new bow. Keeping the bow drawn past max charge will fire an additional arrow that stuns the enemy for 10 seconds. Weapon damage will break this effect. This does not affect bosses or enemies that have recently been love struck. This sounds like a pretty good bow for stuff like endurance. Available from the event store starting February the 21st, so of course this will be coming out the exact same time as Hawk. We'll be checking it out on twitch.tv. Now, aside from this, we have the Lunar Llamas leaving soon. The Might of the Dragon weapons and Chinese New Year's heroes crammed into one tiny llama. Grab them before the llama blasts out of the store in version 12.10. This is pretty much kind of telling us that there's probably going to be a new llama in the next update, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that and make sure that you do stock up on those tickets. Both Lunar and the new llama will cost 500 Lunar tickets. Use them or save them. the choice is yours. So yeah, they just said right there, both the lunar and the new llama, so the llama that comes after this will cost the exact amount of tickets, which would be 500. And note that 2 of these were granted to players that logged in that were impacted by the early winter llama conversion. So if you guys logged in and got 2 of these, that is why. Moving on from that to the General's Boot Camp, the Storm is starting to throw some new mixes of enemy waves at us, commanders. I fully expect each mission you embark on to have varied husk encounters going forward, and we're also seeing reports that the nurse husks are making their way into Plankerton, Canny, and Twine. Stay vigilant. So basically the new husk that came out during Frostnight and was pretty much only in Frostnight is now in the actual game. They say smashers can't live with them and definitely can't live without them. It seems like they aren't charging until they're a little bit closer to our structures. Best use that to our advantage. So smashers have gotten a nerf where they charge from a closer proximity instead of trying to charge from a very far ways away. And they also say finally some good news. Field reports show that sploders are running low on propane and their blasts are dealing less damage to our structures. I personally interpret this as there's going to be less sploders overall, seeing as they're running low on propane and their blasts are dealing less damage. So obviously whenever they do explode, it will deal less damage to your actual tunnels. So for any of you power base mains out there, you might be a little happy. Moving on from that, we have Clips Corner, which this is a lot of the weapon changes that are coming in this season. It says some of our schematics need some major tune-up, so be ready to fire up the forge. We made some serious enhancements to many ranged weapons, most notably shotguns, snipers, bows, grenade launchers, and some of the older weapons, and these weapons should be much more powerful now. They also say, speaking of bows, I've tightened their strings so their projectile speed can travel much faster, and I'm making some further adjustments to the boom bow, vacuum tube, and the vendor tech as well. They go on to say the boom bow is recalibrated to have a lower base impact damage and projectile speed, but now deals even higher damage when fully charged, so make that count. So basically a buff if you do charge it all the way back. The vacuum tube bow now triggers its lightning on hit rather than elimination and has a longer lightning range. Only 2 targets, no problem. The lightning will now bounce between both of them multiple times as long as they're in range. So that sounds pretty good, especially if it's something high health like a smasher. And also I've improved the Vendortech Seeker's homing arrows with significantly better accuracy and reliability, and they can hit husks at much larger distances. Thank God, because I've always hated the Seeker. I thought it was good on concept, but I've always hated it because it never really functioned the way I wanted it to. Aside from that, additionally we made some small impact changes, which were the following: the Retro Sci-Fi Assault Rifle, the Neon LMG, the Neon Assault, the Retro Sci-Fi Pistol, Tiny Instrument of Death, and the Zap Zap. Fear not, I made them eligible for reset in case the slight impact reduction isn't your style. I have no idea why they did this. I don't really know why the impact even mattered, but they did it. Finally, the utility perk slots on weapons like reload speed, mag size, durability can now be rolled to damage if you want to go all in on those husks. So we're getting more options to roll our weapons with. So instead of being forced with a reload speed that we might not want to use, we could actually make it damage. So that means like a 5 times damage weapon is possible apparently. Probably gonna have to make a video on that at some point. Aside from that, they go on to talk about some traps. They say let's move on to those underperforming traps. I've enhanced the damage of just about every trap with the exception of the gas and broadside. They were already extremely powerful and are seeing a minor reduction in damage, and they're both eligible for reset, which in my opinion, it's kind of deserved. The broadsides were really powerful, the gas were obviously meta, so if they do a little bit of a damage nerf, I'm not gonna cry about it. I've had a pretty big breakthrough on the nature traps as well. Turns out that you can put energy damage on them if you turn the capacitor flux just right. Either way, this is a new standard option for our nature traps, so now we have energy traps. I've tightened the spring load on the ceiling drop trap tires to have a little bit more bounce on the release. This will let them hit multiple times, take that husk. So basically, if your tires drop from the ceiling, they'll bounce and then they'll hit the enemies multiple times. Sounds like a crit build would be really good on those. And my new favorite out of the changes is the increased range to the ceiling electric field traps. It's quite shocking how much stronger they are with the new range. Stacking multiple in an area will brighten up your day or your night. And lastly, finally, the anti-air trap will was lacking some proper range, and they've added a new range increasing perk to it. Aside from this, we actually probably have the biggest part of this update. It's from the director. It says, well, commanders, I've had some time to think about the Business Wolf Dungeon Packstravaganza. What if this HUD was in other missions? Time to find out. Make sure to adjust your HUD settings for optimal efficiency. Basically, the in-game UI from dungeons and the mission UI and stuff, that's basically going to the actual missions in the game. So if you like the UI from dungeons and you really hate the Save the World UI, which let's be honest, the Save the World UI is absolute ass cheeks, they finally updated it to be more like dungeons and more like chapter 2. Hopefully we see even more improvements over time, but anything is better than what we previously had, at least in my opinion. There's a new way to perform batch recycles in your inventory. the batch recycle interference has a new auto recycle button, which allows you to pick a rarity and mark all the pesky schematics lingering in your inventory at that rarity or below. Spring cleaning in full effect, a very, very good quality of life change. And last but not least, we have the bug fixes. It says the southeast amplifier entwined peaks outpost endurance will never be attacked from the north, eliminating overlapping spawns. Basically, the bug that's been in the game for like half a year that really messed with people who did endurance is finally fixed. So I'm very happy about that. It says the neon sniper no longer has a distorted scope when using aim down sights. That's really cool. Crafting materials are properly returned when recycling defender pads, which is good. Weak spots are now properly working when struck by a pickaxe. The A button correctly works when using the emote wheel on Xbox controllers, and Jelly Teacup can be placed in the collection book without being needed to evolve. So there you go, everybody. That is the entirety of the home base status report for the new season of Save the World. Now, I still want a roadmap. I still want some communication. Does this, patch note thing, does this save the world? Does all this content save the world? No, it doesn't by any means. It really doesn't, but I know a lot of people are going to be upset about this. Well, people are going to be upset either way. This is a lot more content than I was personally expecting, like a lot more. We got 2 new heroes, we got a new weapon, trap changes, weapon changes, apparently a new llama in the future, but a new UI as well. Like, we got a lot of stuff to change the game and make it feel fresh. Wargames coming back, of course. We got a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, this isn't going to save the world, but this is definitely more than we ever really get for the beginning of a season. So we already know that 12.10 is going to have the locker. We know that 12.20 is going to have the big boy content. We're just waiting on a roadmap at this point, which I really do hope that we still get. But I'm pretty happy with this personally. As usual, we are going to have to wait and see what's coming in the future to really know how the season is going to shape for Save the World. But we actually started off pretty strong with some good stuff. We got a new hero today for the quest line. We got a new hero and a new weapon tomorrow at the reset, and of course we got, the trap changes and the weapon changes to test out, the war game stuff to stock up on tickets for the new llama coming out. All in all, honestly, as disappointed as I have been with Save the World recently, I'm honestly very happy with this update, and the ball is now in Epic Games' court to make sure that they continue on this path of giving us these updates and giving us, all the good stuff that we've been getting, really. It's really up to them to keep this up and allow us to keep having things to do and stuff like that, and allow them to keep their communication up. That's a big thing that they're gonna have to do this season, is really communicate with the community. But overall, I'm very happy with this. I hope you guys are too. If you're not, leave your comments down below and let me know why. Personally, I wasn't expecting anything. I was expecting very little, and they gave me a lot more than I honestly expected, and anything that I really could have asked for. I was honestly expecting the new UI to come out a very long time ago, like not really now. I was expecting it to come a few updates later down the line, but the fact that we got it now makes me pretty happy, and that alone makes me pretty happy about this update. But guys, that's it for me, and that's enough of my rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please, man, leave a like on the video if you did like it, and dislike it if you did not. Leave a comment down below what you guys thought, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys next time.